Hey everybody, and welcome along to Battle Report number 5 for the channel. A little different this week. I've got the final of our club league. My Dark Elves against Callum's Beastmen, as you've probably just read if you made it this far. This is from the culmination of last year's league. It started in August. It sort of fizzled out a little towards Christmas when we were supposed to get the last couple of games done. A couple of people dropped out at the semi-final stage, leaving both Callum and myself from the semi-finals just to play the final and make sure there was an end to the league. So this is it. My Dark Elves against Beastmen. This is the first I've played Beastmen since I came back to the game. I know they've not been done for a few years and they're not the most powerful. Callum's a good player. I know he's going to listen to this, so I apologise for actually having to say that. But yeah, good player. He's took Beastmen through quite a lot of games to get here. We started with 20 players, so down to the last two. So not the greatest army, but he's a good player. So let's see how this one goes. We have the armies first. So my Dark Elf list, 1750 points. I have a Supreme Sorceress who's at a level 4 of Shadow on a Dark Steed with a Dispel Scroll and a Talisman of Endurance. I have my Master on a BSB. He's my BSB, sorry, on a Cold One with Lance, Light Armour, Sea Dragon Cloak, Charm Shield, Dawnstone, and a Potion of Strength. For my core, very quick this army, so I have 3 units of 5 Dark Riders, all with Musician, Light Armour, Shields, and Repeating Crossbows. I then have a unit of 10 Dark Shards, just to make up my core, and a bit of fire support. On to my special choices. I have 9 Cold One Knights with full command, 2 Repeater Bolt Throwers, and a unit of 9 Shades with extra hand weapons and Repeater Crossbows, and 2 units of 5 Doomfire Warlocks. So very fast, very mobile army. It's worked well so far. We'll see how it goes in this one. Callum's Beastmen army. We have his Lord is a Great Bray Shaman who is a level 4 death with a Shard of the Herdstone. He has a Wargore BSB who has a hand weapon, heavy armour, gnarled hide, and Banner of Eternal Flame. He then has 2 level 1 Bray Shamans, both to the lower Shadow, and one has a Dispel Scroll. For his core, he has a unit of 39 Gore, full command and extra hand weapons, 4 Tuskor Chariots. Those had me a little worried, I will say. Just lots of chariots, and I'm playing MSU, so it can also do a lot of damage if they get charged. For his special choices, a unit of 24 Bestigor with heavy armour and great weapons, 2 units of 5 Harpies, and a Razor Gore. So the biggest challenge I thought I was going to have on this was the big unit. I hadn't come up against any Horde armies that had big units, especially at toughness 4. The only unit I have that can go into larger units is my Cold Ones, really. So I had had a few trepidations about going against them, and original plan going into this was run around them, make sure he can't charge me. If needs be, I can get a charge off, and on the flanks, hold them up, use my magic. Well, we'll see how that goes for me. The scenario we were doing, we rolled Meeting Engagement. So it's a diagonal one across the board. We have here the first picture of my deployment. I deployed first. So on the right flank, or my right flank, sorry, I have a unit of 10 Dark Shards, first unit of Dark Raiders, and a unit of Doomfire Warlocks. On my left flank, I have a unit of Dark Raiders, and in the centre, I have another unit of Dark Raiders, my unit of Doomfire Warlocks with my Sorceress, and my unit of Cold One Knights with my BSB. I also have my 2 Bolt Throwers, one in the left corner, and I've got one in the opposite corner as well, which is actually off the board that comes on turn 1. This is Callum's deployment, so he sort of boxes himself in there. The strange looking little castle there is actually being used as his Herdstone, as he forgot to lift his own Herdstone. So on his left there, you can see he's got a Tuskor chariot, another Tuskor chariot, as his unit of Bestigor with his 3 shamans in it. He has 2 units of Harpies sitting at the back there, his big unit of Gore with his BSB, and another Tuskor chariot at that side with his Razor Gore on the left. Now you can see that there's a couple of proxies in there, but it's just the chariots, so we're doing fine with that. This is before turn 1, this is after Vanguards. You can see quite aggressive, moved everything up, ready to start trying to encircle his army. Hey, I completely apologise, this isn't after Vanguards actually, this is after turn 1. He didn't steal first turn, so I went first and I just moved things up. Still trying to encircle the army, not much happens. I then cast the Enfeebling Foe on to his Bestigor unit. I also cast Soul Blight on them as well. So they're sitting at toughness 3 at the minute, which should make things a little easier if they're going anywhere. But they're also sitting at strength 1. On his turn, he moves up with his Razor Gore there, as you can see on the right flank. His chariot sort of swivels round a little to aim towards the centre, as I think that's where his army's all going to go. His Gore herd moves up, his 2 Bray Shamans move out of the Bestigor unit and into standing beside the Herdstone. That just gives him extra power dice, I believe. Can't remember exactly. I think automatically gives him an extra power dice on his magic phase. His Harpies move up to chaff up my Dark Riders or my Cold Ones so that they can't get into the Bestigor. And his chariots on the left flank there just position themselves for supporting attacks depending on what happens. This other chariot is just moved up to threaten the flank of my Dark Riders. I think he knew I was just going to move out of the way of that. Over here he casts off Soul Blight on my Cold One Knights. And this is how it looks at the top of turn 2. So, my battle plan of running around his army, not charging much, and whittling things down with magic and shooting goes out the window here. So, the unit of Dark Riders in the centre at the Harpies there goes charging into the flank of the Gore. The way they hit, they could only hit one of them. But it was to get them out of the way so that my Cold One Knights could charge into his Bestigor unit. His Great Bray Shaman is still in there and my BSB is in base contact with him, so I was hoping to end the magical threat there. Don't want any Death Snipes going off. And my other unit of Dark Riders charges into the flank of the Harpies here, which with the hope of wiping them out and overrunning and giving some support in at the Bestigor unit, as I need to get rid of as many of them as I can. Over here it's just my Dark Riders making it into the flank of the Gore unit. Over here the rest of my movement, my Dark Shards on the right about turn to face where the Razor Gore is going, just in case it gets into my bolt thrower that's down in the corner there. Doomfire Warlocks move up, planning on maybe taking a shot at the other chariot sitting out at the side there, and my other unit of Dark Riders moves in just in case I break and I need to chaff anything up. My Sorceress with her unit just moves out to the side there, keeping out of trouble, making sure nothing can get to them and where they can shoot off some spells if needed. I then cast Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma and the Withering. So I lower his weapon skill by 2 and the toughness by 1. On the shooting phase, I fire Big Bolt, do 3 wounds to the first Razor Gore chariot. My other bolt thrower takes aim, shoots at the Razor Gore and takes it out. all 3 wounds, so that was handy. That's not going to get in and take some points and run around my back line now. Over here, he issues a challenge with his champion to try and take my BSB away. I accept with my champion though, and cut him down. And for whatever reason, I didn't actually get a picture at the end of the combat, but I kill off his Great Bray Shaman. He loses the combat slightly, but he is steadfast. Due to him only being strength 1 as well, he doesn't do a lot of wounds. My Dark Riders also killed the Harpies and overran into that combat. So I've got 2 units in there now. They still stuck around. And we go into the bottom of turn 2, which, yes, his big unit of Gore managed to break my Dark Riders. So they reformed and were able to make a charge on my Dark Riders who were sitting there. So they fled, made it away, he redirected, and he made it into the flank of the Cold One Knights, which was worrying. He also charged in a chariot, which as you can see is a skull cannon there, but he managed to charge in with a Tuskor chariot, got straight into the flank of my Cold One Knights, but the only thing he could hit was my BSB. Sorry, no, he hit the unit as well. And the other Tuskor chariot charged straight into the front of the Dark Riders who were in there as well. There was only 1 left at this point after the combat, so he gets in. I don't fancy his chances. Other movement, the other chariot heads round and is going to try his luck at getting my bolt thrower. He then gets off Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma on my Cold One Knights, lowering their weapon skill by 2, which now means his Bestigor are hitting 4s instead of 5s, which is a shame. I think he also dispels Enfeebling Foe at this point. But he did cast Melkoth's off irresistibly, causing a wound to both his level 1 shamans there. We then go to my turn. I try to rally my Dark Riders, and as you can see there, we roll boxcars, 2 6s, and they continue running, which was no use to anyone. So then go into combat. It says I've not got a lot of pictures for this one, I do apologise. Combat doesn't go well for him. My Cold One Knights really sort of obliterate everything in his Bestigor unit. They had always strikes last, so all the attacks from the Cold Ones really did do a number on the Bestigor, who were lower toughness and lower strength. No, they weren't lower strength at this point, but they were lower toughness. There were only a few left. They broke and ran. The Tuskor chariot that charged into the Dark Rider had failed its impact hits and manages to get cut down in return, and the one on the left didn't do a lot of wounds. So after combat I reform to face the Gore, and that's how it looks. Sorry, my apologies, I didn't manage to kill the other Tuskor chariot. He cut down the last Dark Rider. But I have 4 Cold One Knights left and a BSB who turned to face the Gore Herd, and this was where I foresaw my problems arising, as I now no longer have enough attacks to actually do much damage to that unit, so it's going to take me a long time if I manage to pass a lot of my armour saves at 2 up. We'll see how it goes. I've been doing not too bad so far. And as you can see, this is how it looked at the start of the next turn. My Dark Riders move over to threaten the Harpies that are there. My Doomfire Warlocks turn around to try and help the Cold One Knights, maybe hoping that a rear charge will give me a bit more oomph if I get them in there. See how that goes. Over here, I Doomfire Warlocks my Sorceress move up to try and fire off a Doombolt into the chariot. And my Dark Riders reform just round to hopefully chase after the Bestigor. I then got off Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma on the Gore unit, lowering their weapon skill again, so it means it's harder for them to hit me, so here's hoping that. My BSB is challenged, he accepts the challenge with his BSB. It's a bit of a pillow fight, not much happens, and my bolt thrower fails to hit that. On his turn, his Harpies flank charge my Dark Shards down there. I just stand, it's only 4 Harpies, we'll see how I get on. He then gets off Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma on my Cold One Knights again, and reduces everything by 3. So the Gore are hitting again on 4s instead of 5s, and it's got me a little more worried. Managed to shoot off one of the cannons. Over here I did that last turn actually, sorry, and his chariot charged into my unit of Doomfire Warlocks with Sorceress who fled. This is the fight going on. I've lost a couple more Cold One Knights. My BSB has done a wound to his, hasn't taken any wounds in return. And over here, I managed to kill 1 Harpy, he does nothing, and he flees. I think this is now on to turn 5. As I said, I didn't get a lot of pictures. I was more interested in the game at this point, I wanted to win. We move on then. My Doomfire Warlocks, my Sorceress, failed to rally. Continue running, but don't make it off the board, so that was certainly handy. Move up here with my Doomfire Warlocks. Didn't charge in, but I was hoping to use magic to make it easier. My other unit of Dark Riders up there charged the chariot, which is 1 wound left, so I'm hoping to knock that out. And my Dark Riders are going to try and take a shot at the Bray Shamans there and try and get rid of those. My bolt thrower on the left takes out this chariot. Now you see it, now you don't. My BSB takes out his BSB. I lose 1 more Dark Rider. Sorry, not Dark Rider, Cold One. He's steadfast and sticks around. I kill off this chariot. I get to attack before him, so strength 4 on the charge. It's only toughness 4 chariot, so I managed to get it. I then reform and face off against the Shamans. Onto his turn, he's not got much movement left. He gets off Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma. His chariot had charged in there, manages to kill off my bolt thrower. And on turn 5, I think this is the top of turn 5, this is how it looks. Maybe turn 6 actually, I'm not 100% certain. So my unit of Dark Riders who killed the chariot charge into the Great Bray Shaman, the Bray Shaman, the level 1, who flees. He goes through the Herdstone, takes a dangerous terrain test with only 1 wound left, and kills himself. He ran straight into the stone and killed himself. So that was quite funny. Then I cast off Soul Blight on the Gores. My archers managed to fire off enough shots that they get a couple of wounds through and finish off the other chariot. And these guys fire enough shots at the Bray Shaman to finish him off. So into this fight, my BSB and my Cold One champion do a number on the Gores. I win, he is steadfast, but he has not got any rerolls. And he breaks. And we call the end of the game there. The victory is to me. He didn't get many points from me. I made so many armour saves. It was unlikely that my Cold Ones would have stuck around that long, but they did. So they managed to fend off a unit of Bestigor and a large unit of Gore, which was rather good for them. They don't usually stick around that long in a fight, so I was quite pleased for them. They did well, and I am crowned club champion. Quite happy with that, but we'll see how this year goes. I'm sure we've got a lot of new members this year, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to run maybe with about 25, 30 players in the league this year, so more competition the better. Anyway, sorry there wasn't a lot of pictures, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Have a good time, and I'll see you on the next one.